What does the starting quarterback for LSU see for this LSU football team?
I mean, the sky's the limit for us. LSU always has the most talented players in the country, and if we as an offense are who I think we can be this year, it's going to be really hard to beat us.
What do you have to do for you guys to take the next step?
I got to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I got to be up there with Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Jake Fromm, Justin Herbert. I got to be up there with those guys if I want to do what I think we can do.
Does it make you angry? Do you feel like what are you?
I mean, obviously. So going back to the confidence thing now. Obviously, I think I'm one of the best guys in the country, and I think I'm going to prove that this season. But based off my year last year, we won games, but I didn't produce a lot.
Right.
So going into this year, I think I'm going to have to take that next step in order to beat the people that we want to beat.
That was in July, by the way, July 15th. That was Joe Burrow talking about Trevor Lawrence and Tua, Jake, Justin. A lot of criticism of me that day because I just went 15-year-old schoolgirl crush over Joe Burrow, but I was that enamored by him, and that's when I became an LSU fan this year because I just loved the guy and I believed in him. He said, he wasn't just talking. I mean, he was authentic.
We got about 45.
So he backed it up. I mean, how interesting is that? Let's see, what is that? 1 day short of 6 months ago, Joe Burrow saying what he did there, and he's just like his head coach. Talk very softly. What's the old cliche from politics? But carry a big stick. And he wielded it all year, and he wielded it to a national championship for the Tigers. So that is where we are, pretty much at the midpoint of our program. We have taken plenty of calls, had a number of guests, and we will continue. And let's get back to the calls. And Barbara is in Louisiana. Hello, Barbara.
Hi.
Hi there.
Thanks for taking the call.
You bet.
I just wanted to say this semi-bashing that I've been hearing today of Coach O, he is the first one who brought us back the conference championship, the players who competed in that and won, winning 15 games, and winning the national championship is not a whole lot of reason for bashing him.
Well, Barbara, I have not heard too many. What are people bashing him about? I haven't heard that.
What's happened in the last 3 years?
Oh, okay.
What happened 3 years ago?
I see.
Well, now it's what's happening, and we are the champions.
Yeah, but I think to talk about
today,
I think to talk about today, you do have to understand where he has come from.
Yes, but I know where he is, and that's a champion.
That is correct. You are 100% correct about that. Well, thank you very much for straightening us out. Randy is also in Louisiana. Hello, Randy.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Great show yesterday. I had the opportunity of being able to watch it, and it was amazing how at first you was just there by yourself with the crew, and then 5 seconds later, 1,000 people showed up.
Word got around, didn't it?
Word got around quick. Somebody yelled, "Paul's over here."
No, it was one of the most overwhelming scenes I've ever witnessed in terms of this program. I mean, obviously I've seen a lot of cool things, but yeah, and we started the show with Mrs. Ogeron right in the front row.
I was able to see that also.
That was amazing.
It was amazing to see Mama Coco on TV, and the amazing. I mean, it was just an all-around amazing venue you had with you all day yesterday and even into the night.
Well, thank you.
We're just lucky fans to be able to watch you.
Well, to me, we were the lucky ones to have a subject. No matter who you are, whether you're a writer or broadcaster or an artist might be a little bit more creative, but if you don't have good material, you're not going to have a good show. And we had the best material yesterday we've had in a long time.
Great, awesome. And not really to get smack talking to anybody, but Squirrel called in, and, of course, he didn't want to hear from LSU fans for the 9 months. Well, unfortunately, he's got it. He's just going to have to continue eating Larry's nuts for the next 9 months. But we'll go on, and we enjoy this win, and we are the champions.
Thank you a lot. That is really great to hear from you. Fisher is in Alabama. Hello, Fisher.
Hey, Paul. I think I heard you say you hadn't had many Bama fans call in today.
No.
Am I the first or just in the few?
You may be the first.
Okay, well, first let me just say hats off to LSU. I called a few weeks ago and kind of gave it to the LSU fans for saying that they had whooped Alabama's ass. But I want to say last night, man, Clemson looked like they were a couple of eye gazers from having an ass whooping themselves.
Yeah, they were fortunate it wasn't worse.
Yeah, I think LSU go up by another touchdown, and we're having a whole another different conversation. Also, I was at work today, and one of the LSU fans, I mean, he's a big-time fan, he said that looked like Trevor Lawrence left the field with a dag-burn crappy attitude last night. And, I mean, understandable. That's a big game that he lost. But I remember Dabo going off about people saying Clemsoning. I don't know. Was Trevor Lawrence Cam Newtoning last night?
Well, he had a pretty bad night for him. I mean, I think he was just showing the disappointment of the loss. I thought he handled himself pretty well after the game.
I think so too, and that's expected. That's a big game. That's a disappointment. From the Bama perspective, I was telling people, hey, it was in the best interest of our brand for Dabo to go out on the losing end last night because Dabo wins that game last night, man, and he's catapulted himself into a whole nother category.
He's the Mardi Gras queen for the next year. Excuse me, king for the next year. That was not a Freudian slip. That was just too many hurricanes last night at Pat O'Brien's. We'll take a break. And it is time for Zim here at halftime.
Yeah, Paul, the college football season has ended, but you're not going to believe this. We still have headlines nonetheless. Time to get smart. Let's check out those headlines. We're going to start today in Tuscaloosa, where AL.com has been told by sources that running back Najee Harris is expected to return to Alabama, pass on the NFL draft. Now, there's been no official word from Alabama or Harris, but AL.com reports that the expectation is for him to come back for his senior year. He would join offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood and receiver Devonta Smith as key juniors coming back for the Tide. Meanwhile, right down the road in Auburn, the Tigers have found their new offensive line coach. It's Jack Bicknell Jr., who spent the last 3 seasons over at Ole Miss as their offensive line coach. He replaces J.B. Grimes, who stepped down from his position last week. And at Georgia, the Bulldogs yesterday added another grad transfer. This time it's Florida State tight end Trey McKitty. He's a former 4-star recruit and ESPN Top 300 recruit. He had 50 catches for 500 yards in his FSU career. Let's check out what a busy offseason it's already been in the SEC for transfers. Over the weekend, Jamie Newman made the move from Wake Forest to Georgia. Newman and McKitty are eligible immediately as grad transfers. Of course, Joey Gatewood, Cade Mays, and Lorenzo Lingard, they will try to get eligible. At least Mays and Lingard will for next season. We'll wait to see when they play. But some big names there, Paul. Any of them stand out that you're anxious to see at their new school?
Yes, Jamie Newman. Is he as good as he has been advertised to be? And if he is, Georgia is in serious consideration again. If not, then they've got some issues.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does in that Georgia offense and how it changes. One other big news story just breaking for Tennessee basketball. Redshirt freshman Uroš Plavšić has been granted immediate eligibility by the NCAA, and he can play starting now. Big news for the Vols.
Good move. Second half live, and we are spending pretty much all of our time talking about last night at the Dome. Let's continue. We've had a number of guests. We will include some more guests and your phone calls here at 855-242-7285. Also, a look ahead to the 2020 season. This season has not even been over 18 hours, and we're going to tell you who will win next year. when the championship will be decided a couple of days earlier in Miami. How about Dave in PA? Hello, Dave.
Yes, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I always enjoy your show.
Thank you.
And hearing the Coach O interviews the past several days reminded me of something Keith Jackson said many years ago about Frank Broyles when he was at Arkansas. He said, "Folks, he may talk funny, but he sure don't think funny."
That's great.
And I believe that also applies to Coach O.
There's little doubt about that.
And I've got to recall, if I have another few seconds,
Sure.
Before Christmas, you had a caller from New York who implied that because these people down here talk different and talk funny, they must not be very smart.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, when he said that, I immediately thought also of Mr. Jackson's comment. Of course, Keith Jackson could make a turtle race exciting.
He could.
But anyhow, it's a great show. I always enjoy listening. I learn a whole lot. And I am a transplant. I'm in Pennsylvania, but I am a transplanted Kentucky Wildcat. But then also, of course, a longtime SEC fan, and I always support the SEC teams. But thank you for letting me make my comment, and always enjoy hearing you.
Well, Dave, thank you. Thank you very much for calling. We appreciate it, and you stay in touch with us from Pennsylvania. Let's get back to the calls. And Tina is up next.
Hello, Paul. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks, Tina.
I got a couple of things to say. First, I want to say thanks for a wonderful football season, and your team, and you will definitely be missed until August.
Well, thank you.
And I wanted to make a comment about your story about Coach O. I did not know that, but he has transformed into a wonderful person, and I wanted to say, as a Roll Tide fan, LSU deserved to win last night.
Well, you are correct. And Tina, thank you, and thanks a lot. And I know a lot of people take a break from the show and kind of come back, but we're here every day, football season or no football season. I don't know what we'll be talking about. Probably be talking about Coach O. But if you have to leave us for a few weeks, you'll still be the same great show when you come back. That's right. Let's talk to Jimmy in Florida. Hello, Jimmy.
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
We are well, thank you.
I was just wondering, where do you think that LSU team ranks? Among all the greats. I'm sure you've answered that question already 100 times, but I'd just like to hear.
I frankly think they rank number one, and I say that understanding there are some flaws, but when you talk about the schedule. When you throw in what Joe Burrow has done, you talk about the offensive line, to the wide receivers, to Edwards-Helaire, to the defensive stars in the backfield. I don't know when I've seen a more impressive performance start to finish, and against a brutally difficult schedule.
Right.
I mean, I hear Miami fans who have nothing to talk about in the present or the future. They yap about 2001 and every, but great. You had a bunch of guys that went to the NFL, but what we're talking about here is not the NFL. What we're talking about here is what happened this season, not what is going to happen post this season.
Right. Yeah, I definitely don't want to take anything away from LSU. Their defense to me just wouldn't rank up there among the best.
Well, there's no way.
Especially squeaking by Auburn and Alabama.
Yeah,
both of them games is real tight.
Okay, correct. The defense does not compare statistically to the one in 2011, which was as good a defense as I've ever seen. But when you look at from the games down the stretch that mattered, the A&M game, the Georgia game, the Oklahoma game, and the Clemson game, the defense was really good, and that's how I'm using them. I don't care about statistics, and I know that puts me as an outlier, but I look at the big games. Against Alabama, they gave up a lot of points. Ole Miss, they gave up a lot of points.
Alabama looked like they had been drugged that first half of that game.
Now, a lot of Alabama's problems were self-imposed, but so what? That defense did something to Trevor Lawrence that nobody has done before.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can. By the way, the reason why some will never give this team the proper credit is because of the defense. But I'm standing firm as the overall package. What from Coach O to Joe Brady to Ensminger to the perfect season of Joe Burrow, it's pretty remarkable. Hey, thanks for the call. Really, really do appreciate you being on. Henry is in Georgia.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Henry, thank you. Good afternoon.
Hey, man, I was just, let me say, go Tigers. But what do you think now since we came back and won a national championship, how do you think the direction now for LSU football is going to go now? Do you think our recruiting is going to get better? And do you think maybe we'll be winning more championships down the road?
Yes, I do. I think the recruiting will be the biggest benefit of what happened last night. It was already really good. I think now it's going to be great because everyone, 26 million people watched that game last night. They heard about LSU all month long. They heard about Joe Burrow. They heard about Coach O. And I think we're not talking about Louisiana players who I think are going to LSU anyway, but players from around the country are saying to themselves, you know what, that's a hot program. I want to be part of it. It looks like they have fun down there. It's not a military camp. The coach is engaging, so I think there will be a significant impact and residual from that. Great to have you on. Ryan is next in Texarkana. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, buddy. How are you doing, Paul?
Great, Ryan. Good to have you back.
I just want to say something, how enlightening your show is and all the people you have around. And Stephen A. Smith, before you interviewed him or whatever, when I'd be going through the channels and he was on whatever, I would immediately go on because I just felt like he was a yappy, opinionated, wouldn't let people get their word in edgewise. But after him telling you his story of how he came up, I had a better appreciation for the man. And, it's just a good story. And without your show, I wouldn't have known that, somebody went to get Mike Leach. And when he got back to Tennessee, the person above him fired him for trying to get Mike Leach. But I really enjoyed this championship. I had two class acts, Coach O and Dabo, and just the coaching in it. And I know you can go back and analyze it and whatever and grade it and whatever, but game time, speed, and everything. And yes, they did have Joe Burrow, on the ropes to begin with, but that's where you get. You see what they're doing to you. Okay, there's always a weakness somewhere if they're, putting three down linemen and having the rest in the linebacker or secondary. And kudos to LSU for figuring out what they were doing. And when they did, they basically were unstoppable. And Joe Burrow and LSU and Coach O, this is just, a fairy tale story. And I'm so glad for LSU. And just let you know that, this was the best college playoff, I think, in a long time, just being a quality situation and whatever. And I think with Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin coming to Mississippi or in the SEC, those guys, they kind of loosen things up a little bit when they speak or whatever. And it's just not the, beat somebody down all the time. And I think it's going to be entertaining. And our coach, Sam Pittman, I'm on board with him 100% because he's going to build a team from the line up, offensive and defensive line, which is what Arkansas needs. And surrounding himself with the right coaches and getting the right players in there. I'm going to go and sit like I always have when I go to Razorback games, whether we were getting beat 40-0 or whatever, I always stay to the final whistle. And it's going to be interesting. I've got a kind of a vibe now and excitement for going and seeing, Arkansas play now and see what. Well,
Ryan, listen, I hate to run. We're up against a break. Thank you for your call, and I think you're right. Sam Pittman is off to a good start. We are heading to a break right now. We will talk about next year's top 25 in case you have recovered from last year. We'll also get another take on the weekend in the Big Easy. And we'll continue to include your phone calls at 855-242-7285 the day after.
Color of the day it was.
When in doubt, cut his outside leg
Daytime or
and
nighttime,
create a pile.
no doubt. Now, is that legal?
Well,
no, that's illegal now,
You'd rather have a
cut
penalty.
an offensive guy outside of 5 yards.
I think if he sees you and you front him up, you can.
I think
within your 5 yards.
Yeah,
that's right.
He was past 5 yards, I think. But yes. But what I'm saying is those offensive linemen, so many times they miss. Yeah. They did a great job of coming to balance. Just square him up, right?
Yep.
He's 185. You're 385. Just square him up, and they did a great job. What were you going to say, Coach?
No, out there, man, you teach one or two things, man. You teach, man, run a 1.340 through the outside leg, or you teach a foot fake because the lineman doesn't know where the ball is. A lot of times the ball's out of phase. So, man, I couldn't tell there whether or not the DB. I mean, it happened to the DB too so fast. It happened so fast. It happened so fast. But
I mean, that's like when you guys go back and every time you watch practice, if your corners in practice ever end up inside the ball,
yeah,
you're setting yourself up.
Oh, no doubt.
It happens all the time.
No doubt.
That's a big play of this game, though. The screen game.
Remind me to show you something. Somebody that went in the portal. Guess where he's going to end up? I'm going to show you.
We got another portal tonight?
When we go to break, I'm going to show you something.
Targeting.
Oh, they're targeting on 47.
We got to show that again.
Automatic first down.
That's huge.
And they eject him? Let's see it.
It disqualified him.
Yeah.
He launched.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. See, I mean, it's so hard to play defense because that guy's down, I mean.
And it's bang,
and the rule's
bang.
good to protect players, but guys, he's been doing what he's been doing for 15 years playing football.
I know, but
tough situation.
Yeah, man, that's a bang bang. But what you do see is the crown of the head come down, and man, for us, that's one of those things, man, that's really tough. Because as a defender, man, those things are quick. They're bang bang. It's tough call.
It's a shame that he's got to leave the game.
Yeah, national championship.
We've got matchup problems again over here.
Yeah, they're in zone here. So he knows they're in zone right here.
Not good. 19's at the top. That's who they're going to pick on. You notice 19's always going to 81 side now.
They're
to the wide receiver side. There he is.
Oh, they're out leveraged to the flat. He's got him. Touchdown. Is he short here?
No, that's touchdown. He got the ball across it.
He reached.
Yeah, he reached.
They're in zone coverage right here. You can see. And then
He should have thrown it sooner. What?
Yeah. I thought so too. I thought he was wide open early.
Should have called a pick.
Yeah,
go back.
Could have called
This
pick.
is you offensive
Should
guy
have called a
blocking
pick
again, Coach.
because he's blocking.
What is he throwing behind the line of scrimmage?
Of course.
Nah, it's not. It's not behind the line of scrimmage though.
No, ball's downfield.
No, ball's downfield.
Welcome back. Glad you're here, and let's get right back to the calls at 855-242-7285. And Joe is on Staten Island. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
We are great, Joe. What's up?
What a game. And let me tell you, the best thing was it was on your channel. I watched it. That's what you guys did with Laura and what's his name? The big guy.
Marcus
was better than Super Bowl coverage.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll pass that along.
You guys were on. I couldn't leave.
Well, that is fantastic.
I was going somewhere. I didn't leave. I stayed right here in the house and watched the whole thing.
That's fantastic.
You guys are the best. You can't lose them. They're not going to
No,
ESPN.
that team will never break up. We're like the Beatles. We'll take that back. They did break up.
There you
go. Maybe like the Rolling Stones.
They're
They're still together in '95.
Yeah, that's good. What about next year? You were saying?
Yeah, I mean next year with college football, or next year with that team.
that team without him, I don't. You're gonna have to plug somebody in there.
Yeah,
but
I mean that's a good. Listen, they had him last year and he was good. They had him this year and he was great. He will be difficult to replace, but I think if Joe Brady stays there and they keep that coaching staff together, they'll be able to attract another quarterback.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I watched this morning, and they were all talking about. They're calling him now.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers, who are owned by a guy worth about $500 billion, or
yeah, right.
I told him, I'll coach for that money.
There you go.
Yeah, listen.
Give me his number. I'll call him up for you.
Yeah,
Give me a little.
If you're a multi-billionaire and somebody who's making whatever $1 million and they want $3 million, I mean, do you really care?
No.
Like,
if he knew he could get a Super Bowl, he would give him $20 million.
Oh, he'd probably hand over his wife and a couple
Here's
of
the
farm
keys to the
animals.
stadium. Lock it up when you leave.
Yeah, I mean, I've never known what it would be like to have that kind of money where it's going to cost you $300,000. But who cares? Just get out of here. I mean, I'm thinking. I was somewhere the other day that says it's going to cost you $3 more. I'm like going, never mind. I mean, like, I'm good. I'll suffer.
Hey, we're good people. That's all that matters.
You're right. Hey, listen, it's always great to hear from you, Joe.
Hey, when are you coming back up here?
I'm back there probably in about 3 weeks.
All right, I'll bring you bagels.
Bagels. Do you know how much I used to? My mother, who's from Brooklyn, and you may have heard me say this, when she used to go to New York when I was a kid, we'd go pick her up at the airport, and she'd come back with like grocery bags of bagels and Bialys.
Oh, Bialy, toasted Bialy.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites,
God.
Bialys.
Uh-huh.
I was at some place, some delicatessen in New York this year, and the guy brought me a buttered toasted Bialy, and I didn't want to eat anything else.
I agree with you.
Yeah, that's
it was
good.
Great talking to you. And listen, what a show yesterday.
Thank you very much. I'll tell Laura and the big guy that you said that. Totally forgot Tebow, by the way.
Well, we all forgot.
Well, now that he's getting married next week. He'll be out of pocket for a while. Ricky is in Mississippi. Hey, Ricky, go right ahead.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
We are doing great.
Yeah, y'all always do a good job, man. I tell you, I just appreciate y'all and the work that y'all do. You know, it's phenomenal.
Thank
man.
you, thank you,
the coverage
Ricky.
y'all do, man. I mean, it's top notch, man. But man, what a game last night, man. I tell you, Joe Burrow he just showed what he was made of, man. I mean, he showed it all year. We've been knowing about it all year, but see, the rest of the country got to see it.
Yeah, apparently, Clemson had not heard the news.
Apparently not. You know, I mean,
Little old Clemson must not get TV in Greenville. They must only get the ACC channel.
For Trevor Lawrence, you know what? But that's going to be an experience because you got to think about it. That guy, since he's been on campus, he never lost. You know, so
well, I think his timing was off a little bit, but it was in my imagination. But it was his hair a little tilted to the right.
Yeah, I tell you that hair is something else, man. Fabio, I tell you. But I tell you, you know what? I got a perfect name for Joe Burrow because, and I say this because I heard Dan Orlovsky this morning, and he said that Joe Burrow was just a stone cold killer.
Ooh.
And so now I got a name for him. You remember this? This is a jazz song back in the day from, I think his name was Benny Golson, I think. And he had a song called Killer Joe.
Benny, you're thinking about Benny Goodman?
I think it's Golson.
Oh, Golson, okay.
I think it's Golson. I think it's now. I have to look it up.
Benny Golson, okay.
But, yeah, but man, you talking about a that's
yeah.
That's
Benny was a saxophonist, I think.
Yeah, but I think that song was Benny Goodman. He was a clarinet.
Clarinet, yeah. The only reason I know that my father had a saxophone, and he tried to teach me how to play it. It was one of his biggest failures as a dad.
Yeah, when I first.
I think I finally got. You'll understand that you were you a drummer?
Yeah, but I was a saxophonist first.
Okay, well, I learned how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, and that was it. That was the end of the run for me as a jazz accompanist. Which did you play? Alto, tenor?
Alto.
Yeah.
I started out alto, and my band director got a hold to a tape I was just practicing on, and one of my bandmates, one of my classmates, stole the tape, and gave it to her behind my back, and she told me, "You're not playing saxophone anymore."
I tell you what, the alto sax is a beautiful sound when played correctly.
Yeah, I love the sax, man. I think I would say David Sanborn and Gerald Albright is my two favorite guys.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. But one more thing.
I'm going to go back to I do jazz seasonally. I'm a weird music guy, but
yeah, me too. I love all types of music, man.
Yeah.
So that's why I probably like Leach, because because I like some 70s music and rock and soul and jazz and so I like a little bit of everything, But about the targeting thing, do you think that the NCAA would ever change the rule and just get a penalty and just keep the men in the game like they do in the NFL?
I wish they would. I really hate this. I hate this targeting rule.
Yeah, I know the Clemson fans are. I know they upset about that, but they wasn't too upset when the Ohio State.
No, you're right. You're right, Ricky.
When they got called for targeting, they didn't mind then. So but I do believe that they should just, even if you want to just add maybe yardage to it or something, but they should stay in the game.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
They need to move on from there. I can understand why they did it, the kind of because it's a new rule and they need to suffer consequences. And see, I think that's overdone now. I don't think they need that now. I think they just should, call the foul and give them the yardage and let them stay in the game. Right? That's just what I believe now.
I like that one. Hey, Ricky, you keep calling.
I'm so proud of LSU and Coach O, and so I'm just grateful to hear their story, man. It's all about perseverance, man. I tell you. But I love Coach O, man. And one more thing I'm gonna say about Coach O. Go Tigers!
Ricky, thank you very much for the call. One of my favorite callers out there in Mississippi. We're up against a break. We'll talk about next year with Mark Schlabach. Who's going to win it all in 2020?